Hey everyone, it's Jonathan Mast, and I am here today to talk to you and go through an entire workflow on how to use AI to co-author your next book. If you've ever thought about writing a nonfiction book or a business book in particular to create or to expand your expertise and help you create topical authority online, this webinar is going to show you how to do that and how to leverage AI tools to make it happen. We're going to walk through as much of the workflow as we can in an hour. I'm going to run through it as quick as I can. But if you stick with me, I'm going to share with you my entire book workflow at the end. I'm going to give you a chance to register and get it. I'll give you the links and everything else, and I'll send it to you for free. So stick with me. It'll be worth your time. We're going to walk through. I'm going to show you how we do this. And like I said, I'm going to give you the entire prompt, the entire workflow. It's multiple pages long. We can't write a whole book with just one prompt. So with that, let's go ahead and let's dive right in. I'm going to start by sharing my screen here and the tab. Let's just see here. Let's go into... Where do we want to start? We want to start with our book prompts. All right, here we go. So let's go ahead and share this. So, oops, that was the wrong one. Let's go back and try that again. There we go. Nothing like having difficulty sharing the screen. Let's try this again. I obviously have too many things up. There we go. Too many tabs open. All right, so this is the exact PDF I'm going to send you guys. You don't need to be copying and pasting and screenshotting, although you can, but I'll go ahead and send you everything when we're done. So this is, again, about how to write a nonfiction book, a business book that you can go ahead and publish and everything else. So we're going to start here by walking through and sharing these tabs. I've done some of these to get started so we can expedite the process a little bit. And we're going to use really two primary tools today. We're going to use perplexity.ai. That's an AI-based search engine. And we're going to use Claude 2. And I'm specifically using the free versions of each to show you what you can do. You can also run all these in ChatGPT. In fact, I think you might even get slightly better output. I like using a combination of Claude and that, but for our purposes here today, we're going to go ahead and show you how we do both of these. All right, so let me go ahead and let's go over to Perplexity. There we go. All right, so let's go all the way to the beginning. So my first prompt was, please conduct comprehensive research on, and you can put in your topic here. I did one for a book that I'm working on, creating topical authority and being seen as the go-to expert. I want you to read 10 to 15 relevant long-form sources, take organized notes, highlight credible information, provide a summary. So again, I'm in perplexity.ai doing this, and you can see it went through and it found all this for me. It also gave me 6 sites here to reference so that I can use those as reference purposes, and I got my answer. Once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and I start creating a Google Doc. So you can see here, I'm going to pop in. There's my prompt, and then I type in my response. It shows the citations and everything else. And then I'm going to go down to my second prompt. So let's take a look at the second prompt. Still in Perplexity, compile the research into an annotated bibliography summarizing key findings, identify 5 to 10 compelling examples, statistics, and quotes to use. And you can see I've got a lot of stuff here. Both I've got my annotations, and then I've got my example stats and quotes, all again with links, which is great because you can then put all of that in your footnotes and have everything right and ready there. Again, I copy that and I move back over to my Google Doc and we paste that in, and there's my response. The next one, I'll just stay here and show you. I did a new page for each one. My next prompt was research. Let's zoom in just a little bit here so you can see this. Research 5 to 10 topic experts. Get illustrative quotes, stories, and insights relevant to topic. Again, I put in my topic here. You can put in your topic. Take detailed notes and summarize key points. If you don't use Perplexity, now I recommended using Perplexity for this. That's what I've got listed even in the book itself, where you're going to see that. I'll just share this here a minute with you. So we'll zoom in here a minute. So we're on step 3 here. Notice I tell you, I want you to use Perplexity. That's going to work smoother if you do so. But if you could also use ChatGPT with internet access enabled, either through the web ChatGPT plugin or the web pilot plugin, either one of those would work. But I use Perplexity. I like that better and got some great information here. And again, all of my citations as well. My next question, still in Perplexity. Research online to find recent salient data, trends, and credible sources related to your topic and list them for reference. And here we do. And I know well enough, some of these are great. Moz, Search Engine Journal, Diggity Marketing, those are some fantastic sources that it's found there, and it's giving me all kinds of relevant information. So that's as far as I got in my document for right now, because now we're going to head back over into Claude, and I'm going to then tell it what I want to do next. So let me grab my prompt. We are now at point number 5. I'm going to go back into Claude here. Oops, hang on here a minute. Wrong tab. There we go. And I'm going to paste in that information from point 5. So it says, using the compiled data provided, please create a logical chapter outline for a nonfiction book on topic. I'll go ahead and insert my topic in here in just a moment. Let me find it in my, there we go. So we'll replace topic with, in my case, creating topical authority and being seen as a go-to expert. And this is where it gets fun. So I'm going to go back to that document that I had, that document I was working on here. I'm going to take this entire document, Command A, and copy. I'm going to copy it to my clipboard, the whole thing. Now I'm going to go back over to Claude. Now I've got my prompt. I want to go at the end of my prompt, and I'm simply going to do a Command V, and it's going to take that whole document and paste it in as a text file. Now, what it's going to do is it's going to research that data. Notice I said using the compiled data provided, create a logical chapter outline, go. And let's watch it as it happens here. So we're going to work through, this is going to take a few seconds because it is going to obviously create as we go, but you'll be able to see as this creates this, that this is doing a great job of giving me an outline that I can use for my book. Now, obviously, you can make changes, and I encourage you to review this information. Don't just copy and paste it, because Claude may mess up. It may do something wrong. ChatGPT, if you're using it, could do the same thing. I trust Perplexity highly because it's giving me cited sources, but even that information I want to go ahead and review. So there's my chapter 15, or my 15 chapters, I'm sorry, of all the information that I need. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it to logically reorder those sections. And again, I'm taking all these directly out of the prompt guidelines I'm going to send you. So logically reorder the sections to improve flow and coherence. And then I've asked it to explain its reasoning to me. So it's going to go ahead, and you can see it's going to create a revised version of that. We're going to wait patiently while it does that. And it's going to then tell me, obviously at the end, I shouldn't say obviously, but at the end, it is going to tell me why it did that. So let's go ahead and let that complete here a minute. All right. Now it's told us here why it did that. If we had time, obviously I would review this. And if I was going to write a book with this, I would certainly want to review all this and make sure that that was accurate. But for the sake of the webinar, we're going to go ahead and proceed. And I'm going to say for each chapter, write a 1-sentence summary of the core question or issue. And I say it or the chapter will address, and then includes 10 section topics. So this one of the problems I've run into with Claude occasionally is it doesn't want to do everything and it summarizes. We're going to see if it does this or not. So here it is. Here are 1-sentence summaries and 10 section topics for each chapter. Looks like it's doing each one so far, so that's good. Didn't quite follow what I want. I'm not getting actually 10 topics for each chapter, but I'm getting a number of them, and that's good. It's giving, maybe I'm getting 10. I'm not going to count through all those. Let's see if it gets all the way to 15. If for any reason it wouldn't finish this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask it at that point in time to go ahead and just continue to make sure that I got there. All right, it did all 15, so we're good. So my next prompt in order, again, right out of the guide, is expand the chapter outlines into detailed paragraph level experts explaining key concepts and clearly and concisely. Now, I know this one's going to time out and it's not going to work for me. So what I want to do here is I'm going to tell it what chapters. So expand the chapter outlines for chapters 1, 2, and 3 into a detailed paragraph. So it should be able to do 3 of them. Let's see what happens here. We're going to let things start cooking here a minute. And then what I would do, and I won't do this today, but I would come through and then do that for chapters 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and ultimately 13, 14, and 15. Let's see how it does here in a minute. We'll watch this carry on through and make sure that we've got everything that we need to. If I was recording, I could speed all this up, but because we're live, we're just going to watch ChatGPT work. You can still see the amount of work we're getting done just 12 minutes into this webinar. You can see this is just going to save you so much time. Now, again, I want you to proofread this. I want you to go through it and verify it. We're not doing that on the live stream today because we're showing you how to do this. Now, I'm not going to take time. I would then repeat that for each of the sections until we got all 15 chapters done. For our purposes here today, I'm going to move on to the next prompt to show you. So please write a 15 to 20 paragraph compelling introduction that draws readers into a nonfiction book on, and give it the topic, there we go, and establishing the purpose. We should be able to get this one done. So let's go ahead and see what happens. Again, we're going to let it create right here while we're online. It's done a 17 paragraph. Now, I will tell you, sometimes when Claude tells you how many paragraphs, it lies. So don't necessarily trust that it's going to be 17 paragraphs, but I find by giving it the links that does help us get there. So let's just read the first one we're starting here. Have you ever Googled a question and found yourself drawn to the first result without hesitation? When a website appears at the top of the search results, we inherently trust that it must be a credible source and with expertise on the topic we're researching. Well, that's certainly true for me. Again, I'm not going to read the whole thing for this live webinar. That doesn't look like 17 paragraphs. It's counted the bullet points, but that's okay. If I want more, I can ask it to expand. And throughout this, one of the things I want to encourage you to do when you get content, if you don't think there's enough there, encourage it to expand and do more. Again, for the purpose of this live webinar, I'm not going to go through all that. You can't, in my experience, write an entire book in an hour, and I'm going to try to be done in less than an hour here. But I want to show you the framework and show you how it works so you can then go through. I have done multiple books with this, and I find that typically I spend anywhere from about 6 to 8 hours going through all the prompts, proofing it, making sure that it's good and ready to go before I can then send it to somebody to format to be done on a Kindle so I can sell that book on Amazon. Now, you don't have to do that either. You can just make it an ebook, but we'll talk about that later. So then now I want to draft 1 paragraph introductions and conclusions for each chapter summarizing the key points. Again, it's not going to make it through all 15. So I'm going to just say, I'm going to get for chapters 1, 2, and 3 again. Depending on when you're watching this, you may find that the systems have gotten better and they may be more capable of doing this. But as I record this on the last day of August 2023, I can tell you that this is going to just not work if I try to do it for all 15 chapters. All of these large language models have restrictions on how much data they can deal with. And if you give it too much or the response is too long, it's just going to kind of puke all over itself. So in this case, we're going to just focus on chapter 1, 2, and 3. And you can see it's doing a nice job. It's giving me a chapter 1 introduction. Topical authority is one of the most important yet often overlooked factors for establishing true expertise and trustworthiness around a specific subject. This chapter will explain what topical authority is, how it is measured, the key signals that boost authority, and how optimizing it can dramatically improve website visibility and conversion. Great. Then I've got a conclusion, and then the same for chapter 2 and 3. Again, I would repeat this for each step of the way. I would not do this just once. I would do this for each of my chapter sections, in this case, till I was done all the way through chapter 15. Now the prompts start to get a little bit more interesting. So let's paste in our next prompt. It says, given the chapter title, chapter overview, and chapter outline, your task is to write a comprehensive and engaging chapter for the book. Use the chapter title to set the tone and theme of the chapter. The chapter overview should provide you with the main ideas and key points that need to be covered in the chapter. The chapter outline should serve as your roadmap, guiding the structure and flow of your writing. Remember to maintain a consistent narrative voice throughout the chapter and ensure that each section logically leads to the next. Your goal is to create a chapter that is informative, engaging, and seamlessly fits into the larger narrative of the book. Now, again, you can change any of that if you don't like any of that, but I found that to work pretty well in most situations. And now what we need to do, we need to paste in the chapter outline and summary for each chapter. So what are we going to go for that? We're going to go right back up to our notes. I would normally copy this over into a Google Doc so I'd have all that, but let's just take our first chapter and chapter summary here. There we go. And I'm going to put it between the brackets so that it knows what I'm looking for. That it will help it out. And we're just doing chapter 1 here again. So we're going to do one chapter at a time. We can't do all 15 chapters again. It won't work. Let's see if we can get a whole chapter out of it. Again, while this is working, I want to encourage you, take these introductions and conclusions, create a Google Doc and paste those over. You're then going to be able to take in this content that's being written and paste it in between that introduction and conclusion for each one. So while that's doing, let's go ahead and do that for chapter 1 real quick. I'll just show you what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. I'm going to go back over to my draft. Notice I've got my notes here. Let's create a new page and we'll just say chapter 1. And I'm going to paste in my content. So there's my introduction. Then I've got my chapter 1 conclusion. I'm going to leave my notes in there for right now, just so I can track this. Let's go ahead and make this a subheading 2. That'll help me for my purposes. And now I'm going to have content that I can place right in between there. So let's go ahead and get rid of our chapter 1. We've got our introduction, our conclusion. We'll put our cursor in the middle, and let's go back and see how we're doing and what we've got. So it looks like it's done here. It's written quite a bit of stuff. That's pretty good. There's a little copy feature. You don't have to highlight. You can just go down here and click copy. And now I'm going to go back over into my ebook, and I'm going to paste that in. And let's see what we ended up with. So as we paste this in, obviously your book is probably going to be formatted a bit differently, but just doing that as we throw things in, and we're going to want to make sure we delete some of the notes. So here's a draft chapter on understanding. We want to delete that out. It looks like it pretty much copied that, pulled that out of there. In fact, it did almost exact copy. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the chapter 1 understanding authority, but I'm going to get rid of our introduction there. And again, sometimes it will do that. That's all right. This is why you want a proof. Again, we're going through how topical authority is measured, the main signals. Pretty good chapter. And then we've got a nice conclusion that I would make sure, again, it looks like they did pretty similar. Again, I'm just really quickly looking at this, folks, while we're going through. I would want to proofread this, but there I've got my first chapter. And it looks like we're about 3 pages. This isn't going to write a 5,000-page book, but if, again, it's a business book that you're trying to make relevant, this may give exactly what we want. So we're going to repeat that process for each and every chapter in the book. And that's going to take a few minutes. We're not going to do it here on the thing. So our next prompt is, after that's all done, we want to give me 5 options for a title for this book that would appeal to, and we need to talk, who is your target audience? So if I'm writing a book, in this case on topical authority, I'm going to be writing that for business owners, entrepreneurs, and sales professional. You would want to obviously customize this for yours, but let's go ahead and see what type of titles it gives us. Now, you may go, why do you wait to do the title now, Jonathan? Why didn't we do that earlier? Well, the reason is very simple. I want it to have this information in this tab. Well, I realize I'm not sharing the tab. There we go. Sorry, guys. Sharing that tab. I want it to have this information, all of the chapters and all that, before I ask it to do the title. You could do this before getting all the chapters written. That would be fine, but you want to make sure at least you've got the outline and the summary in place. So here's some titles it's given us. Let's see what we think. The Authority Advantage, how to become a leading expert in your industry. Yeah, that's not bad. Top Dog, boost your brand's influence with topical authority. That could work. Dominate your niche, the expert's guide to owning your industry online. Not bad again. Standing out from the crowd, building blocks for thought leadership. That one doesn't do much for me, but it would work. The go-to guide for top experts, mastering visibility and influence online. Again, some decent options there that we could definitely see. So if we've carried this on through, and again, I know for the course of what we're doing here today, we have not gone through every possible iteration. We haven't got every chapter. We don't have time to do that. That's going to take hours. But again, look how far we've gotten in less than 20 minutes with this book. We're already making just huge, huge progress here. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to go and type in this prompt. And it says, as an expert copywriter and editor with a deep understanding of what? Of your subject matter. So we've got to go ahead and put our subject matter in here. For speed, I'm going to paste in the same as my topic. I'm seeking your assistance with proofreading a text for readability and comprehension. This text is for a book I'm writing on the topic or on the subject of, insert topic. Please review the following text and provide your recommended revisions. Additionally, please include a bulleted list of the changes you have made at the end of your revised text. So please format the response in Markdown. Now, folks, this is an area where I would generally say now is a great time to go over to ChatGPT. We've used Claude. Let's go over to ChatGPT and see if we get any different inference from that. But again, I said I was going to keep this on the free stuff, so let's go ahead and keep it here, and we'll go ahead and run with it. All right, I'm seeing some comments here. You guys want me to go to? I can show you in ChatGPT if you want. I can do that. If that's what everybody wants, we can do that, and that's not a problem. All right, I appreciate the comments. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's go pop over then to ChatGPT. Let me share this tab. And let's go ahead and I'm going to use GPT-4. I am a Plus subscriber. I find the content's a little better. So there's my topic. Let's go ahead and grab that script again. We'll paste it in here. Grab my topic so I can get everything updated appropriately. All right. So based on what I've got in here, let's see here. I'm just going to I'm a little picky. I want to make sure everything looks right. The following text. So we're going to, again, we could have done this either way. We could have started in ChatGPT and moved over, but we're going to be taking a look at one chapter of text. So I'm going to go over to my Google Doc here a minute that I've been creating. I'm going to take my chapter 1. Let's go ahead and highlight this. This is an area, by the way, that things are definitely improving. When things first came out with ChatGPT and such, there's no way I could have probably gotten this entire chapter in there. Now with the increased models, we can do that. And Claude 2 actually gives you 100,000 characters to use, so that's even better. So let's go ahead and enter in a couple spaces and paste in that text. And let's see what we get. Now, again, I could do this over in Claude just as well. I'm just using GPT-4 because I think it's a great way to get better. And notice, by telling it to write in Markdown, which I did, notice how now all of a sudden we're getting H1s, H2s, and things like that. That'll make the book formatting look better. So we're going to let this carry on through. Let's see what it does. I will warn you, sometimes when you do this, ChatGPT or Claude will shorten the chapter significantly. When that happens, just go back and ask it to rewrite again, but add context without shortening, and that will generally fix it. So let's just see here. We're going to watch this carry on through. Again, live, I've got to wait for it. I can't speed it up. So let's see what happens here. So far, just scanning it, it looks pretty good. Again, in theory, this is going to improve it. Let's see what changes it made. Notice we asked in the prompt for it to put a bulleted list of the changes at the end. Why? Because I want to see what it did. So it changed the tone and the flow to enhance, make it more readable. It fixed some redundancies. It said there were some repetitive points and elaborated more on some essential aspects. That's good. It applied our markdown formatting, which we asked it to do. It fine-tuned the language a bit for precision and brevity. And it made some minor rearrangements of the content for a more logical flow. Again, that sounds great. Again, the great thing here now, I can go ahead and take this. And again, I apologize, guys. I didn't share the tab. Here's chapter 1. You can see what it's done here. The joys of live. I can't go ahead and fix that. But there's the changes it made I just told you about. Let's go ahead and highlight this. Again, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to take this for each one of my chapters. I'm going to want to go over to my live document that I'm creating, and I'm going to replace that text. Now, generally what I do when I replace that text is I'm going to create a new version at this time. So if you're with me, remember, we've gone all the way through and we've had all the chapters written. Then after all the chapters have been written, then we're going and we're taking them one by one and having them rewritten and updated. At that point, I would create a new document so that you have the original and then you have the new revised version. That way, if at any point in time you want to go back, you've got that opportunity to be able to go back and look at previous revisions. The last time I wrote a book using this series, I think I ended up with nearly 6 or 7 different documents as I progressed through so that I was able to do that. And that really helped me track and do some comparisons. And it was also good when I got it to my editor to read, it really helped them make sure that everything was flowing just perfectly. All right, so we've got that done. Let's go ahead and share my screen again here. And let's figure out which one we want. We want the book prompts on the PDF. There we go. So our next thing, we're going to run that for every single chapter. Then we want to review the book in person. Because again, remind you at this point, we've got everything done. We've got the book written. We've got it rewritten. Again, as a reminder, if it shortens things out too much for you, ask it to expand or add relevance. Let me show you that in a minute. In fact, just to show you how that can work. So this is just chapter 1. I know it's the only one that we've done here. But let's go ahead and take a look. And let's say we want this to be longer. All I can do is say, yes, I do say thank you to AI, by the way. So thank you. Please add additional context, resources, and relevant information to make this chapter longer with more words and relevant information. And at the end, provide a bulleted list of the changes made. I love doing that because then I get to see what's done and I can very easily figure out what's been added and make changes as needed. And notice here, again, this would work the same in Claude as it would here. This is just going to quickly and easily make things or write new stuff and follow what I said. So again, it doesn't matter. I can use either of those tools. If you've got other tools you want to use, you can use those as well. I just prefer Claude and ChatGPT because I find both of them work really well. In fact, while this is happening, let's have just a little bit of fun since we're doing good on time. I'm going to take this prompt. This is the original prompt I had ChatGPT to rewrite. If you remember, we went and said, as an expert copywriter, rewrite this. Let's go over to Claude a minute. And let's actually have it do that here. Notice one of the differences when you do this in Claude, it's actually going to take that text as a text file instead of there. And it's what's noticed, even though it was all part of one prompt, it recognized what was there. And now it's going to go ahead and do this. One of the things I haven't done yet, but this makes me think would be a lot of fun to do, is actually compare and contrast the two. So I would probably do that in Claude. It would give me more capabilities. Let's let this write here a minute and see what happens. Let's go back and see how we're doing on ChatGPT. We're done. I think we're done. Yep, there we go. So it added a new section. Let me share my tab again. It added a new section called the evolution of topical authority. It extended the section why topical authority matters. It introduced some tools and resources for helpful to do that. We'll take a look at that in a minute. It provided and incorporated some user feedback as a metric to measure topical authority, and it enhanced the conclusion. So let's go ahead and take this now. Let's try something off the cuff, and this may or may not work, but let's go back over to Claude. It's still finishing up. Looks like it's writing quite a bit longer chapter, which if you want length is great. Obviously what really matters is the content. Remember, we want it to be helpful. So now let's do this. Let's say, please compare and contrast this chapter with the following draft completed by ChatGPT. Please provide a newly written chapter using the best of both versions. And I'm going to paste that in. There we go. Let's see what happens. I've not tried this, guys. This is live. We're trying this. This is kind of like a live demo. You never know what you're going to get. So let's see what happens. So, this is good. First, it's going to tell me some of the main differences. So it says its draft focuses solely on defining topical authority and why it matters. The other draft provides more context about its evolution and resources. Now, that makes sense because ChatGPT said that it was giving us some history there. That's good. And it added some resources on our last prompt. The Claude draft breaks things down into clear sections, while the other draft has longer, more continuous paragraphs, different styles. Again, another reason to use both of them. The other draft incorporates metrics like surveys and social engagement. The Claude focuses on Google's core ranking signals. The other draft, and I won't read through all these, but obviously it's then given us similarities and then suggested. And so I'm going to say, please rewrite the chapter and incorporate all of your suggestions. Now, notice here, because we're staying in the same chat window, Claude has access to all this data. We don't have to re-put this in on every prompt. It's got access to this, and it's going to come through here, and it's going to rewrite this chapter. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, Jonathan, this isn't as easy as I thought. I was really hoping I could just say, write a book and it would do it. No, you want to write a good book, and you want to write one that's useful and is actually going to help you increase your topical authority, increase your expertise. And the best way to do that is to do a little back and forth like this and use both the tools to create a better product, a stronger book, better content all the way around. Remember, AI is not the easy button. It doesn't mean I can just say, write me a book on topical authority and being an expert in your niche and have it write something out for me. But we've got 15 chapters. I'm going to guess by the time this is done, we'll be pretty close to having spent about 15 to 20 minutes on this chapter. Let's just say 30 to make it really long. That means 15 chapters is going to take me 7.5 hours. You add an intro and a conclusion, a little bit of work, 15 hours, or I'm sorry, 8 hours, maybe 9 if we get a coffee in the middle. How else are you going to write a book that has 15 chapters and all this information in 9 hours? Guys, that's one Saturday. It's, honey, I got to go work at the office, or I've got to be on my computer today. I'm going to write a book today. Alex Hormozi just released a book. Great book, by the way. $100 million leads. If you haven't got it, it's awesome. But he spent 2 years writing the book. We're talking about creating a book that can demonstrate your expertise and make you an authority, and doing it in 8 to 10 hours. That's a win. So there we go. We've got our first chapter. Conclusion, next steps. We're going to just repeat this for each and every chapter that we have. And that's how we're going to win. That's how we're going to create this book. Now, when you're done with creating the book, there are some additional things you need to do depending on how you want to do it. One, you need to design a cover. You can do that in Canva if you want. You can go to Fiverr, get somebody inexpensive. I've got a resource on Fiverr that does really good stuff for probably around $100. I'll share that with you in the comments as well. Additionally, there's a number of resources on Fiverr that can format your book if you want it formatted for like Kindle. So once this is done, you can actually take this book, go to Amazon, get signed up with them, and publish it as a Kindle book. You can then even print that book and have printed copies done for you through Amazon printing, depending on the length and the options you choose. It's probably going to cost you $3 to $5 a copy. So imagine that. Imagine being able to do this, print your book, get an awesome professional cover, actually get an ISBN number for it and everything else, and you can have printed copies of the book that you can now hand out to your customers. Imagine a prospect when you meet with them, handing them a copy of a book about something that you're an expert in that demonstrates and creates your expertise. That's an amazing business card, folks. And that's where, again, AI tools like this can really help us succeed. So I hope this has been successful. I hope this has made sense. If you're interested in getting a copy of my guide, it's really simple. All you need to do is scan that code right there with your phone. Go ahead and pull it out. You can scan that. Or if you're wondering where to go and you want to have the link itself, you can go to my website at whitebeardstrategies.com. whitebeardstrategies.com. And now I have to remember the link. I've forgotten it. Let me see here just a second. We will get it for you. Got to look back in my clipboard history real quick. I apologize. There we go. It's whitebeardstrategies.com/book workflow, all one word. So book workflow. That's whitebeardstrategies.com/book workflow, all one word. So BOOKWORKFLOW, all one word, no separations, no spaces. Or just go ahead and scan this QR code that you see right here. If you need to scan a picture of it or whatever, you can scan that with your phone and that'll bring you right to the form. Now, in order to send it to you, I do need to ask for a little bit of information. Let me share you what that's going to look like so you know what to expect. Not going to cause any issues here. Let's see. There we go. So that's going to bring you to this form. All right. I am going to ask for your email and your name at a minimum. I have to email this to you. I'm also going to ask for your text number. At the moment, I'm not texting anybody, but if you are willing to give that to me, I would be grateful. That'll allow me to send you a simple follow-up to make sure you've received it. I promise I will not spam you. Period. Won't happen. But I will let you know next time maybe we've got a new webinar coming up or things like that. I'd love to be able to have that information to help keep you informed of what's going on. If you don't want to give it to me, just put in a fake number like 555-5555. That's fine. But if you put in a real number, I'll get added to the database. And when we have news updates, we'll text you. I promise it'll be very rarely. And again, this information will never be sold or anything else. If you got questions, you can see our terms and conditions and our privacy policies on our website. So, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me for this. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you've got value out of this and you can see how you can actually take the AI tools like ChatGPT and Google, or I'm not Bard, I'm sorry, you could, I wouldn't recommend it, ChatGPT and Claude and write an entire book. On that note, though, I want to say, this AI landscape is changing so quickly that I expect there to be new tools getting released literally every single month. Google just made some major announcements this week about brand new tools, and supposedly their new tools are even better than ChatGPT 4. And from what I've heard, a lot better. That competition's good, by the way, because that means that ChatGPT is going to get better. It means Claude's going to get better. We're going to see more and more tools. Facebook's releasing their own large language meta model or messaging model. So we've got lots of competition. Competition is good, folks. It means better resources for us. So I hope this has made sense. I hope this has worked for you. If you have any questions, feel free to dump them in the chat real quick. But if not, no problem whatsoever. I want to thank you for attending. And I want to encourage you, if you have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to join us in our Facebook group. Let me see if I've got a link actually for the group. I may. Let's see here. I got a couple of them in here. Let's find out if this is the right one. Nope, that's for my free topical map. There we go. If you want to learn more about AI and you're not in my Facebook group, it's a free group, by the way, almost 3,600 people as of today, maybe a little bit over that, actually, I think. Yeah, it is over 3,600 now. Go to whitebeardstrategies.com/AI group. It'll bring you to the free Facebook group. You do have to apply, but I'll let you in. Don't worry. Just keeps all the spammers out. We don't do any selling in the group. We don't promote stuff. You'll never see a promotion for, buy my list of 10 prompts. No, that's not how we do things. It's all about educating and learning from the group. And there's so much value in there. I learn from it every single day. So again, I'd love it if you would request the free copy of our entire outline for the book. You can do that right there. You get the entire workflow. If you'd like to join the AI group and learn more about that on Facebook, you can do that here. With that, folks, make it a great day. We'll see you on the other side, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions about topical authority, about writing a book, about AI, you name it. I would love to be a resource. Make it a great day, everyone.